Good morning, and once again, welcome to the East Bay Small Business Symposium. My name is Jim Foley, and I'm the Regional President for Wells Fargo in Contra Costa, Alameda, and Santa Clara counties. I also happen to be the Vice Chair of the Board of Directors for the East Bay Economic Development Alliance. We are so glad to have all of you here today and our attendance in our first of 4 small business symposiums that we're going to be having in this market. And we couldn't be happier to have our first one here in Contra Costa County and also here in the city of Antioch. You know, last fall, the East Bay Economic Development Alliance published our Building on Our Assets report. A purpose of the report we put together every year is to understand some of the dynamics of the East Bay economy. And the goal really is to understand what are the strengths in the East Bay economy that we can build on and continue to prosper, but also to attack maybe some of the hurdles. What are some of the challenges that are out there? And when I first had the opportunity to review the Building on Our Assets report, 2 important things jumped out at me. Number 1, 70% of all new jobs here in the East Bay come from businesses with less than 100 employees. Let me say that again. 70% of all new jobs here in the East Bay come from new businesses with less than 100 employees. The other fact shared in that information, a little bit more concerning, is in the first 5 years of their startup, 50% of our businesses are failing. So that's really why we're here today. How do we continue to have healthy job economic growth, and how can we better support business owners here in the East Bay? In fact, the partners that are joining us here today, I know, consider one of our most important priorities is supporting small business owners. So whether your company is a startup, whether your company has moved into the growth phase, or whether you've graduated to the mature phase of business, we're here to support you. And specifically, the East Bay Small Business Initiative is here to support you. The East Bay Small Business Initiative is an opportunity for the East Bay EDA and our partners to have a connection between small business owners and the resources that help small businesses grow and flourish. Our goal with our 4 events that we are scheduled through the rest of the year is to reach over 800 businesses, connect them with information, resources, and assistance. And we're glad you were able to join us for our first event. On behalf of East Bay EDA, I'd like to thank a few of our partners that really helped pull this together. Intercity Advisors, Small Business Development Centers in Alameda and Contra Costa County, Alameda County Workforce Investment Board, the Workforce Development Board of Contra Costa County, United States Small Business Administration. I want to thank all of our partners who've done just an incredible job of bringing experts here today, helping us with outreach, and really getting this off the ground. I'd also like to take the opportunity to thank our East Bay EDA, who continues to create leadership in this important initiative and helping us with logistics. Now, as I mentioned, we're planning to have 4 separate events here in the East Bay over the next year. So later this morning, we're going to be handing out the dreaded evaluation form. Now, if you're like me, the minute you get the evaluation form, that usually means you run out of the room and get on a conference call or return phone calls or get to that top customer. We'd ask you this time to just spend a few minutes to give us some really candid feedback at the end of the day. What went well that we need to continue? What are some things that you thought were missing that we need to add? Your candid feedback is really important. And if that doesn't motivate you, we also have prizes. So fill out the form either way so that we can get great candid feedback. As I mentioned previously, we're going to have 4 separate events throughout the East Bay, and I know a couple business leaders and a couple business owners weren't able to join today because of some conflict, so we wanted to share the cities that we'll be visiting and on the specific dates. Our next symposium will be in Berkeley on July 31st. On September 18th, we'll be in Danville, and later in the year, we'll be in Fremont on November 8th. Please share that information with anyone that you know that might have an interest, and if they want more information, the best way to get all the details is www.ebsmallbusiness.com. Once again, that's www.ebsmallbusiness.com. Now it's my pleasure to introduce someone that has maybe even more passion than I do around small business. She is going to join us to talk a little bit about her organization, where I sit on the board, that I think does some of the most important work here in the East Bay region. She's also going to give us an update on some regional economic trends. The Executive Director for the East Bay EDA, Dr. Karen Engel.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for coming out so early in the morning. Luckily, we had a wonderful day for our work today. East Bay EDA, as Jim mentioned, is a East Bay-wide two-county economic development organization. Many of you may have heard of us. We are a public-private partnership, 22 years old now, really with the singular mission of improving the business climate and supporting all of you in doing the important work of keeping our economy healthy, vibrant, and job creating. So one of the things we did, as Jim mentioned, was to put out a report last year that looked at some of these elements of how are we doing in that and what could we do better. And last December we convened a number of our partners and stakeholders and we talked about that. We looked at the report and what we heard overwhelmingly was, you know, on the one side, we know we have lots of resource providers. We have lots of wonderful people in finance, alternative lending, business mentoring, but we don't necessarily have a good connection between those resources and entrepreneurs, people every day doing their thing, working in their business. And so how can we create better connection? And so this ebsmallbusiness.com that we set up is meant to do just that. And these in-person events are really meant to connect people one-on-one, but the website will continue that work online. And our partner, Inner City Advisors, has committed to this work to really engage over the course of several years to make sure that anybody who comes to us through the website will get connected with our resource partners. So it's really our mission in this initiative to get that connectivity better. I have a few minutes on the agenda just to take you through a little bit of the economic research that we've been doing and give you a couple of indicators. I do want to point you to two other reports. The Building on Our Assets is on our website, eastbayeda.com. But on Thursday, tomorrow, we're actually releasing our new updated economic outlook for the East Bay, and that was done for us by Beacon Economics. And so some of my charts today are a sneak preview of what we're releasing tomorrow. And then thanks to our staff, we have a few slides that just talk about East County. So let me run through that a minute. Let's see. Quick. Is Keith here? Keith, can I ask you to just flip the slides for me? Go to the next slide. Thank you. Okay, so again, I'll go over a few of the overarching trends from our East Bay Economic Outlook that's coming out tomorrow. Look at the sub-region, look a little bit at employment, unemployment, growth trends by industry sector, and then what we know a little bit about what creates jobs, what kinds of business, and looking again at our initiative. Go ahead. And again. So according to Beacon Economics and the work that we're publishing tomorrow, things are actually looking better. And maybe, hopefully, some of you can feel that in your day-to-day business. But our economic indicators point to a better year, and the region continues on the path of recovery. Month after month, we find more and more East Bay residents are finding jobs, and local employers are beginning to hire. Go ahead. Looking at the chart, this is both simultaneously employed residents, that's the bar chart over time from 2008 till this last quarter, and the blue line looking at unemployment. And so the good news is the unemployment is really starting to drop significantly. We are now below 10%, as many of you who follow this, you know, we were as high as 12. And while we're now improving relative to the state, we're still behind the US as a whole. But we're getting better. The trend lines are good. Go ahead. Similarly, this is payroll employment. So these are jobs that are being added in the region, East Bay wide, again, between 2008 and 2012. Many of you may not have known, but at our peak, we were over 1 million jobs in the East Bay, and we lost 1 out of every 10 jobs in that first impact, those first few years. So we really, through 2010, we all felt it. But the good news is this last bit, really we are turning the corner. Okay, go ahead. This is a really hard chart to read, but what I wanted to highlight is, you know, there's some sectors that have lost a good number of jobs. or a percentage of their jobs, but some that have really consistently done well despite the recession. And the best performing sector that has done well despite the recession is professional, scientific, technical services, followed closely by education services and healthcare. And I'll get into some of that a little bit. Go ahead, next one. All right, looking at East County, just real quick. Go ahead. We thought we'd look at unemployment and employment in Contra Costa. Overall, the county has a 9.1% unemployment rate right now and has a little bit shy of half a million jobs. What we see is, a lot of diversity among communities in terms of unemployment. And again, this is looking at residents who have jobs or not. And so we see some variety, and the bigger cities obviously have some larger percentages. But what we see there is, Pittsburgh at 14.5, Antioch 10, Concord 9.9, Brentwood 8.1, Martinez 7.3, and Oakley at 6.6, comparing that to the countywide average of 9.1. Go ahead. So this is looking a little bit by sector at how we are doing in terms of business establishment formation. And again, the time we're looking at is the last 5 years. Between 2007 2012, in what sectors do we see more companies actually getting started? And so what we see there up at the top, it's inverted. So the loss, the net decline is in wholesale, warehousing, waste management, a little in bioscience, eating and drinking, IT, and finance, not surprisingly, manufacturing just a little. But the real gainers are here at the bottom, and administrative and support services, professional, scientific, technical services that I just mentioned, legal, hotels, construction, actually gaining establishments, healthcare, management, and on like that. So that just gives you a flavor of where we see business formation. Okay, go ahead. As a pie chart, same information, but as a pie chart, just showing you in terms of all of the business establishments in the East County, we see that really admin support, 16% of all companies, services and construction, 12%, retail, 11%, healthcare, 8%, and again, professional, scientific, technical services, 12% of all jobs in East County. Go ahead. Now we're going to do the same exercise, but this is just looking at jobs, so employment in East County. And we see again the losers at the top. Utilities actually lost over that 5-year period a percentage of jobs, and somehow you can't see the percentage, but I think it's almost 8%. Manufacturing, obviously we took a hit in jobs in manufacturing, although that is coming back. Waste management, professional services, interestingly, legal services, bioscience, similar list. Looking here at job creation, and again, you have to take this with a grain of salt. We have a 34% number for clean and green. And I did go back and look at the data, and clean and green is defined as a basket of activities that include public transit, recycling remediation work, environmental services. There's a woman at UC Berkeley, Karen Chappell, who has created a definition of clean and green, and that's what's used in this number. What you'll see in the next pie chart is that the total number of jobs in this sector is fairly small. So even though they had very robust percentage growth over this time, it's still a small amount of people. What we see also is high percentage growth in administrative and support, mining, interestingly, transportation, management, public administration, and education. Go ahead. So again, as a pie chart, where are all the jobs in East County? We do see that public administration, education, retail, healthcare, and construction are our biggest job generating sectors in East County. Go ahead. Keith had alluded to, or Jim, about sort of where we see job creation by business type in East Contra Costa County. And I think it's important, the Building on Our Assets report really reflected on the importance of locally grown jobs. Most of our job creation year over year comes from businesses that start here and grow here. So East Bay EDA and all of our efforts are really looking at how do we help that happen. It's not about business attraction. It's not about getting someone from Texas to move their company here. It's about building our own and supporting our own entrepreneurs. So again, the lion's share of jobs created in the region come, it says births, but that just means business starts. Locally owned companies. Sorry, this was John Haveman. Yeah, you gotta love it. And then the yellow is, the green is expansions, locally owned, and then the light gray moves in, but locally owned. So interesting trends. Go ahead to the next one. Similarly, when we look at job destruction or the loss of jobs, and again, he calls it deaths, but we're talking about jobs that go away, more than half are because our locally owned companies are going out of business. And so this is why Wells Fargo in their leadership role is really saying, what do we do about that? How do we change that number? Okay, next one. So that's where we are today. Those are some indicators. Again, if you'd like more, please let us know. But we do have all of our reports on our website, eastbayeda.com, .org. What I would like to say is we have the East Bay Small Business website up and running. If you do go on there, and many of you have, I think you'll see that we're going to be posting things, and your questions can be answered through the site.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. Let's try it one more time. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. All right, come on, let's get it going. I'm excited about being here today. My name is George Carter. I'm actually the Business Services Representative for the Workforce Development Board for Contra Costa County. I'm actually the only business service rep for the entire county, and my role is to help provide information and resources to businesses in Contra Costa County. And I do that really by partnering with others. I'm also the rapid response coordinator for the county, in which, as companies lay off, I have to respond to the layoffs and coordinate employees having a reorientation about resources available to them as they lose their job. So I'm pretty busy, but I'm really excited about participating in this symposium and also the other ones that will be coming up, because it really is designed to help serve businesses. And just real quickly, as my role as business service rep is really challenging, because as rapid response coordinator, I find a lot of businesses do go out of business, not because they had a bad business model, but they didn't really have a plan or they weren't really prepared properly. And so they have to close down. And so I'm really glad we're doing these type of support efforts to really make sure that as you are starting your business, you understand what's extremely important for you to not only start a business, but keep your business. So I'm really also excited about our panels that we have for today. From the initial responses that we got from those of you who had registered, looks like 3 of the top things that you were looking for in terms of information. One was on business planning and how to build a plan for your business. Also how to access financing or how to finance your business, as well as marketing. I'd like to introduce Larry Tesler with East Bay SCORE, and so he'll share with you some information about what SCORE does to support your business goals and needs.
Thank you, George. SCORE is a national organization of about 10,500 volunteers all over the United States, and our purpose in life is to help small businesses get started, help them with their business plans, to help them with their marketing programs and so forth, to give that kind of advice. My chapter is located in Oakland, and we counsel in about 23 locations around the East Bay. You'll see on the table outside, when you go outside, there's a list of the locations. We do counsel here in Antioch, also in Pittsburgh in this area. We do counsel everywhere. That's about it. I should say one other thing, if you don't mind. The counseling is free, so you can come in as often as you like, and you can find us at eastbayscore.org. You can gain one other sort of counseling, and that would be nationally. You can look for a particular type of counselor that might meet your needs. You can do that at score.org. So, but you can also be assured that with our 50 counselors that we have counseling here in the East Bay, you're probably going to find somebody that's in your area of expertise. Mine happens to be retail, but we have human resources, manufacturing, Silicon Valley startups, accountants, lawyers, you name it, we've got it.
Thank you, Larry. Hi, everybody. My name is AP Gujral. I'm a part of the business banking group, and we support both the Contra Costa and Alameda markets. I'm here today to talk about how Wells Fargo is prepared to partner with your business. We support all types of businesses, and in addition to that, every cycle of business. But I'm really excited to talk about the startup phase because I think that's really the most important to get you off the ground. So I'm ready to talk about some startup financing options, talk about business plan options, help you really guide to that management resume, and help you put together projections. Thank you.
Thank you, Apu. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeff Hall, as George said, and I'm with the Contra Costa Small Business Development Center. How many clients do we have in the room that have used the Contra Costa Small Business Development Center before? Okay, we have quite a few. So anyway, the Contra Costa Small Business Development Center has over nationally 1,100 centers nationwide. And we're actually America's largest provider of consulting services to small businesses. A lot of our programs are free, the consulting is free, but the training is often at low cost to the client. For example, if you're interested in starting a business, one of the very best things you can do, according to several reports that have been put out by the SBA, is that if you take up to about 12 months to plan your business start, you will be 87% more likely to be successful than a person who does not spend that time in getting to know their competition, their market, thinking very carefully through their process of what they're going to do. So that's what we do at the Contra Costa Small Business Development Center. We help people who are going to start a business make sure that they go through the checklist of really evaluating what they're getting into. I remember once I used a metaphor. I said, starting a business without a business plan is kind of like jumping out an airplane without a parachute. It's pretty exciting for the first 3 minutes, but then reality finally sets in. You want to make sure that when you jump into something with your life savings, with your time, that you're planning your process very, very carefully. So that's what we do. We've got a whole staff of wonderful consultants. Almost every single one as well is a business owner. And I think that's the unique thing about the Small Business Development Center program is that each of our consultants really empathizes with the clients we help because they've had to go through that same process, starting a business, getting customers, and making your business grow. So I'm delighted to be here today to talk about the SBDC. And in fact, Larry, I would just like to say I went through one of Larry's workshops in 1996. Marketing, and actually, Larry, you helped me launch my business, which I've had now too for the last 15 years or so, so thank you very much. Okay, well that's it for now, and we'll be delighted to answer any questions.
This is pointed at Larry. Larry, how are you? This is Warren Foster here. I own an entertainment company. I tried to work with SCORE quite a few years back, and they weren't able for this new media frenzy that's going on at this particular time. Do you have anybody in SCORE that deals with entertainment at this time, with this new change in the way everything's happening?
Right offhand, I can't think of a specific person that can help you with entertainment. I think we're probably a little bit better prepared today to talk to you about social media and the use of that sort of thing. Right. As a matter of fact, I led a workshop just a week ago on internet social networking, and we do have workshops that come up from time to time in that area. What I suggest you do, I'll give you my card later on, and you can call the telephone number on that card and talk to Patricia, and she will look at the skills list to see if there's a particular counselor that meets up with your specific needs. Okay?
For the video, could you please say your telephone number?
Sure. The telephone number is 1-510-273-6611.
I also believe Jeff Hall may have something to say.
Okay. Yes, I'd just like to say also we have a wonderful gentleman at the Contra Costa Small Business Development Center. His name is John Smullo. John is our social media marketing expert, and the interesting thing about John that I always like to share is that not only is he an expert in what he does, he has about 17,000 people already following him on Twitter. So I think that's the same kind of thing that we want to have each one of our clients have as well, that kind of social media marketing success. So And again, you can meet with John at no cost to you. The SBA and our local host, the Workforce Development Board, in addition to several cities, are providing the funding for this consulting. So please, we invite you to come and work with John. Our phone number at the Contra Costa Small Business Development Center is 925-602-6806. And also, I really urge everyone to visit our website. We've done a lot of work recently on our website. We've got links to Bloomberg Small Business, links to the SBA website, which is a treasure house of help for anyone seriously starting a business. And our website is www.contracostasbdc.com. Thank you.
And one quick follow-up question, Jeff, is if a business like many of these are looking to obtain some of those free consulting services, how do they go about doing that?
Well, what you do is you go to our website, and then on the first page of our website, right at the top, there's a small tab in a column. It says sign up for our services. And all you need to do is spend about 5 minutes giving us your demographic information, name, address, letting us know if you're starting a business or if you're an existing business. And within probably less than 1 day, someone from our office will talk to you. They'll call you up on the phone and ask you a few questions, and then very quickly we'll get you with the right consultant that you need. You may need some training, and we've got a wonderful startup program. It's called Successful New Ventures that we're launching all over the county. One thing I didn't mention, since my time with the SBDC in 1999, I've mostly spent my time in the classroom. I've helped about 500 people in Contra Costa County plan and launch a business in the last 12 years. Many of them are right here. Has anyone ever eaten at El Taco Factory right here in Brentwood? That was one of our clients. Trina Rodriguez in Brentwood as well. So they're all over Contra Costa, and we want to make sure that they're not the statistics of the 50% that don't make it in the first 5 years. We want to make sure that they've got the right information so that they can be successful. George, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. This gentleman, and then Johnny.
Hi, my name is Don. My question is directed to the gentleman from Wells Fargo in terms of financing. Typically speaking, what percentage of money are you looking for a small business owner to have out of their own pocket? I know a lot of times people want 100, 110% financing, whatever. Typically speaking, you might say you need 5% down, 10% down. And additionally, what type of credit scores are you looking for?
Thank you. Great question. In regards to a credit score perspective, we like to see a credit score of about 640 and above, but we really key into why your credit score may be a little bit lower. So if we can find out information and review your credit report and see if there's things that we can clean up, we'd be happy to accommodate financing below the 640 mark. In regards to a percentage, we go through our SBA financing group to obtain startup financing, and we ask for 30% down.
In regards to youth and nonprofits, I'm just wondering who would answer this best, but a lot of organizations are looking at the direction of becoming self-sustainable, which for us would be opening up a small business and actually having some of our youth and participants or people like that be involved so we get our kids jobs, but at the same time earn some funds for the organization to hopefully self-sustain itself so that we don't have to go after funds or foundations and things like that, which we all know right now funds are very limited to organizations. So I guess my question would be is, to whoever could answer it, is what organization is best to talk to in regards to working with a nonprofit organization that's looking at possibly going in that avenue of developing its own business to become self-sustainable? And I know many other organizations have done it, but I'm just wondering which group here would be more capable of working with those kind of programs.
All right. Sure.
Well, I'll take that one. First of all, I would just say that The SBDC is hosted in Contra Costa County by the Workforce Development Board, who has a tremendous investment in youth today. So if I were looking for some help with starting a business, I would definitely think about coming to the Contra Costa Small Business Development Center, get a consultant, take a look at starting your business, and then see how you might be able to leverage also that the investments that the Workforce Development Board is making in today's youth in Contra Costa County, as well as getting the help from the Small Business Development Center on making your business successful. I think that's a tremendous idea, and we'd love to be a part of that.
George?
SCORE will be more than pleased to offer a similar service, and we have people in the SCORE organization here in the East Bay that have both nonprofit backgrounds and extensive other business backgrounds that can help you. One man that comes to mind right now, if you do call a SCORE office, is to be put in contact with Sid Landman. Sid Landman, he's an expert in that area.
Okay. Also, before we continue on, welcome Supervisor Mary Pifo, County Supervisor for Contra Costa County. Oh, that's all right. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I was just wondering if that the same answer for the mentorship programs that we're talking about here. Basically the same question, but it's for a mentorship program, which is also a 501c, which is another arm of our company. So it was the same answer, correct?
Same answer.
Okay.
A business is a business. You know, whether you're a nonprofit or for-profit, basically the structures are the same. You still have to operate under similar kinds of conditions, you know, with regard to your employees, how you grow, how you identify your competition, how you identify your target market, and how you market yourself to those people.
It's my job now to just quickly allow the moderators from each of the breakouts to present what was discussed in a high level, and so I'm going to go first. We had Stephanie Jones from Wells Fargo, Bob Thompson from Bay Area Development Company, Deborah Linville from East Bay Works, and Robert Meyer from the California Employment Training Panel. On our panel, we also had a number of other research providers in the room. We learned really about four things. We heard about how the one-stop career centers around the state are going to be integrating their online systems with Cal Jobs, the state EDD, so that for companies now, there's going to be one place where you can post a job or where a job seeker can go to look for a job. And so that's a pretty exciting development. We heard about that. That's coming on July 2nd. We also had a discussion about how ETP funds can be leveraged with Workforce Investment Act dollars for new or incumbent workers, and how those folks can really help identify tax credits and other things for companies that are looking to help their employees upgrade. We also learned about a wide variety. You know, a lot of people think that, you know, there's a big difference between bankable and not bankable, but we heard from Wells there are products for, you know, $100K for a piece of equipment or for another investment. We heard from Bay Area Development Company and Wells that for as little as 10% down, there are products now at 4.5% for equipment and for real estate. So it's not for lack of, I think, accessible products that we are, you know, we're not lacking in accessible financial products. We also heard companies, the need to really reinvent companies and